Hey guys, well, I'm going to jump right into it and start this video out. I got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to keep it under 25 minutes. Off to the side, I have a timer going so that I can watch and make sure that I don't go as long as I did last time. For those of you that don't know, I usually do long videos. So, and I saw them just in my video count alone, as people were like, 27 minutes, I'm not watching this. It's totally fine. So, I would not be doing justice to Mama Rose, who asked me specifically on Facebook to share my health issues. So I'm going to start with that and hopefully move pretty fast through that because there's not a whole lot to say. Did end up in the hospital last week, right after I made the video. I think actually it might have been the day I made the video. In fact, it was because I uploaded it right before I left the hospital. Priorities. So I went to the hospital. I was having very similar pain that put me in the hospital before with the gallbladder and bowel issue. And I talked to my surgeon. He said, get in there. I want all this stuff done. But they didn't really care, and they ended up just getting rid of me anyways. Everything is fine that they can see on CAT scan, all that kind of stuff. They're thinking now, which I agree with now, is that it's an internal thing, maybe like ulcers or something like that. So in 2 weeks, we're going to go in and check that out and kind of go from there. So it's not slowing me down. I'm back to training as much as I can. I'm trying to do 3 a days, but it's not exactly working out the way I wanted it to, but I'm still putting in my time, which is good because I had gotten up to like 227 or something like that, which is like 2 pounds over my goal, and so I'm back down to 224 where I was last week. I might actually be 223, but I didn't know because I didn't weigh today. So I weighed yesterday. So that's that. And that's really the whole gist of it. I'm going out of town this weekend, visiting my in-laws. Yay! Well, we won't even talk about it. So. And that's about it. So I went shopping yesterday. I've had a great couple days. My wife decided to stay home because I had to go to the doctor yesterday, or the day before. Yeah, the day before I had to go to the doctor to see him about my issues, and then I had to, and then she just decided to take the next day off for some reason. So it was like my personal day where I just went out and did what I wanted to do, and did some maintenance on the car and just went shopping. So switched to a minimalist shoe, minimalist running shoe, which helps my forefoot strike and push off my toes. Minimalist shoes, the most hardcore minimalist shoes that you'll see are the Vibrams, which are like the 5-finger toe shoes. So mine aren't that way. Mine have a little bit more cushioning and everything, which is good for me. They're Brooks Free Flow, I think. Really good. Love them. Absolutely love them. And I've been training to have that kind of foot strike, so it's been good. Training is going. I mean, I'm back to running and biking. I haven't swam yet, which I wish I would, but I haven't. So that's that. So then what do I do? Well, since I'm kind of in that maintenance area, I will do my video. I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to say today, just about for newbies and stuff like that watch my videos. I've had a lot of new subscribers. Thank you for that. I know her as Shea Leonard. You guys might know her as what's it? Girling Gone One. I repent for not looking this up beforehand. So, but she's one of my favorite YouTubers, period. I actually found her on accident, and I thought she was another one of my subscribers at the time, and she wasn't. And but then I kind of fell for her, and she's become one of my favorites. But she's doing Proof Weight Loss Surgery Works videos now on Tuesday. And so she's the beautiful Tuesday vlogger. And one of the things that she said in her video, well, her whole video for Tuesday was amazing, but one of the things that she really said struck a chord with me. and it was when she was talking about, what she would have done differently or whatever. And one of the things that she said was, she wouldn't have done the nuts and the protein bars and all the snacking stuff and the little things here and there. And I thought, wow, yeah, that is totally something I wouldn't have done. But it struck a bigger chord with me, because I realized that it's one of the things that I kind of learned to do by watching videos and watching other people's stuff. And so now, do I want to sit here and say, well, it's their fault? No, it's not their fault. Because here's the thing. As you guys are watching videos, and you're watching, everyone. And I'm going to talk about some inspirational people to me, and then we'll kind of go from there. And I'll kind of build on that, because I do best telling stories. I don't know why. When I first came to YouTube, Yehuda was the guy. I mean, he had a ton of he had just a little bit less weight than I had to lose, and he did it, within a year, and it was like, sweet, gave me hope. So I followed him, and things he said I took very seriously. And then from there, it kind of became people that I started being introduced to. Becky Bamboo was huge, because she was running and really hardcore working out, which I didn't really have the time to work out like she did. But it was like, yes, she went for it. And she was a gastric bypasser, and so it really inspired me to kind of get out there and start working out some more and start doing more to promote the health in my surgery. So that was big. And then I found Banded Wendy. And Banded Wendy, about the time I found her, I always knew of her, but she was a lap bander, and I'm like, I don't know, like, what do I have to learn from a lap bander and all that? So I started watching her, and she was actually preparing for she had just started training for her first triathlon. And that really struck a chord with me, because it was like, I'd always had this dream about triathlons and doing Ironmans and whatnot. And so that was something I really wanted to take seriously. So I was like, man, I'm going to watch her, see what she's doing and stuff like that. And so she kind of got me fired up. And then also, who I would say is probably the most pivotal, no offense to anybody else that I'm mentioning, but is actually Andrea, Left Band 23. She has been huge for me. For one reason is because I've never really met anyone that loves to run. I mean, it's like when they wake up in the morning, they're like, I can't wait to run. And when they're running, they're like, I love this and everything. And my friends think I'm crazy, because I love to run. I genuinely love to run. I love the art of it. I love the form of it. The feeling I get when I'm doing it. I know the accomplishment. I know the results it's going to bring. I love everything about it. And she's somebody that loves running. And so for me, she really struck. But when we friended on Facebook, I mean, she was so encouraging to me. She'd watch my times when I post them to Facebook, and she'd always send me encouragement and stuff like that. And that was just so like, thank you so much, And so that was huge. And then finally, Jillian O'Malley. And Jillian is the weight loss surgery Iron Woman. So that was big for me, because when I was able to meet her, or not meet her face to face, but we actually, I friended her, I think, first on Facebook before I friended her on YouTube, or subscribed, whatever. And my deal with her was that it wasn't so much that she was an Iron Woman. It was nice to know that she was an Iron Woman and everything. But for me, there was an encouragement to, she was doing when I go to do my first ever triathlon, she'd already done an Ironman by that time out, and her surgery like process or whatever. And so it really encouraged me to not have to take the slow road. I had always said, maybe by the time I'm 40, I'll do an Ironman. That'd be my goal by the time I'm 40. Well, she kind of encouraged me to kind of step it up. And that really took it off to where it like almost blew up my love for Ironman. And so those are the people. And I mean, there's other people out there that I like and I follow and everything. But those have been the most quote unquote inspirational people to me, that have helped me kind of get fired up about exercise and just getting right, you know. However, and this is the whole topic why I'm saying I don't listen to everything they say like it's the spoken written word of God. You know, like I don't really take it like maybe some people do. And I don't think that there's, and I'll say this, I for sure, what I'm about to say, I've never seen a video where I'm like, oh, that person's just trying to be this person or whatever. So don't think that I'm like speaking to you or whatever. I think I'm just kind of saying it as a generalization and kind of a warning to just, when you look in the mirror, you only have to answer to yourself. It is something where when you go to the gym, no one cares. That was something else that was said, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you suck. That was huge. But no one cares if you go to the gym. And in the end, you have to answer to who you are. And so to just do what, I think that everyone that makes videos, they make videos because they put it out there and they're like, here you go. And I learned early on in my process of being in leadership in my church, with doing preparing teachings and everything, we have to read a lot of books. And anybody can write a Christian book. In fact, you go to the Christian bookstores and sometimes what mainstream Christians will call a cult, their books are in there, you know. And so it's like they just put anything. I mean, you can write Jesus 24 times in a book and they'll put it in the Christian bookstore. But so you get these books and you read them and somebody has to test them out. And so you get them and you read them, and I learned very early on that it's like there's a lot of junk in these books, but there's a lot of good stuff too. It's kind of like you have Revelation and then you have all this other stuff that goes along with it. And I think that that's life in general. That's not just Christian books, that's life in general. We get Revelation and then we get a lot of junk too. And so along the ways we start to communicate the junk also, not just the revelation. And so when you watch my videos or you watch anybody's videos, you have to realize that for your life, not everything's going to fit. And everything that they say you should do, it might not work for you. And I've spent a lot of time the last few months always saying, like, you know, I understand if you can't get out and work out and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not going to really say that anymore. I probably will, but I'm going to try not to say that anymore, because you have to know that. Like, if you're, you know, Derwin has a shoulder issue. If Derwin thinks when I'm saying, hey guys, you should go out and strength condition, if he thinks that I think he should be lifting 100 pounds on that arm no matter what because he had gastric bypass, well, come on. Like, I don't think that at all. You know, if you have a bad back or you have a bad hip or bad knees or whatever, like, if it doesn't work for you, don't do it. You know, you don't have to attack me for it because I said to, but you don't have to. But don't take that as an excuse. If you feel like you can do more, I was so proud of my wife yesterday. She was crying because she's been having a lot of issues with her ribs and stuff like that, and tingling in her arms. And she was crying because she really wanted to go to Zumba. And she finally, and I said, babe, you don't have to go. Like, it's totally fine. Like, if you're in pain, don't go. And you know what she did? Like, about an hour later, she just left the house without saying anything. She went to Zumba. She's like, the heck with it, I'm going to go. Yeah. You know, like, I didn't want to see her go and get in pain, but she's just like, I'll go, I'll do whatever I can, and if I can't do it, I'll step aside. And that's what she did. She took a couple minutes where she had to kind of sit out for a little while and kind of catch her breath and kind of relax a little bit because she was in pain. She moved on. So don't ever take it as an excuse, but keep moving forward. You know, when people start suggesting food and stuff like that, just think, is it good? You know, because some people suggest junk, but is it good? I'm not going to eat every single thing that's suggested on YouTube. Like, every once in a while, though, I'm like, hey, I'd like to check that out. But I always have a moment where I check back and I go, somebody just posted something recently, and I was like, hey, that looks really good. I took a few minutes and thought about it and said, but not for me. So that's really the thing, is don't ever try to emulate anyone. Don't ever try to be them. Just be yourself, and it will be more fun if you have. It's kind of your journey, because we all kind of have similar journeys, because we've had, it's like all the lap banders might have similar journeys, all the iron wires might have similar journeys, and there's things that are going to be the same. We're all going to have those stalls, and we're going to come on and we're going to make our, I had a stall, I'm so frustrated, I gained 4 pounds, or whatever. Like, we're all going to do that. Like, I don't know how many of those videos I made. Like, many of them. It's frustrating, and it bothers you, but it moves on. We all have those similar journeys. But where we make our choices of who we're going to be post-weight loss surgery, how we're going to live our lives, those are things that you want to look in the mirror, and you want to be who you want to be. And you want to be that person. And live that person's life, not live my life or Wendy's life or whatever, And so that's kind of my word for you today, is come through it and be that. Because that's the thing, is like, when I was talking about the people that inspire me, I get inspiration from them, but I'll never be them. I never want to be them, It's actually kind of funny, is when I was thinking about this and I was writing down my thoughts on this subject, I actually noticed that Jillian's husband had actually said something to me on a post, because when Jillian posted, I was posting. For a long time, though, when she would post on Facebook, I actually thought she was tagging me and wanted my suggestions, but actually it just turned out something was wrong in the settings, and she was like my most favorite person or something like that. So every time she posted anything, it would send me an email and say she posted. And so, but I thought she was tagging me in it, like she wanted me to respond. And so I was responding to all this stuff when I really didn't need to. But he had said something about, that every time she says she's doing something, it seems like I'm doing the same thing. And at first it kind of took me aback. But then I started realizing, I'm like, oh, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I kind of took it as, is he like, are you just trying to be my wife, or what are you doing, dude? And for me, it was like, well, no, I'm not trying to be your wife. I wouldn't want to be anything close to what your wife is. Not because I don't like your wife, but I want to be me. I want to be who I am. I think your wife just happens to have the same, kind of interests that I have, and it just kind of happens. And I'm like a kid right now when it comes to the triathlon world, and everything, I want it all, and I just sit around and I dream about it all day. Spend many hours on my tablets looking up bike stuff like some perverts look at porn, like I'm just drooling over it. And so, but I thought, hey, this kind of goes along the same terms as, am I trying to be somebody else? And I was glad that he said it, because it kind of made me think, am I trying to be her? No, I'm not trying to be her. Like, because I could really sit back and go, no. So, but along the ways, it's like all the people that inspire me, all those top people on my list, they've all said things where I'm like, I don't really agree with you. Like, I don't really think I'd do that. Like, I don't think so. And so, in fact, my wife just recently told me, she said, I always know who inspires you the most on YouTube. She's like, why? And she's like, because you complain the most about them. And it's like, she's like, they just fire you up. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I think I expect them to do everything I would do, or something like that. And she's like, it's okay. She's like, it's not like you don't like them or whatever. She's like, it's just, I always know who you like the most, and who's you get the most inspiration, because if they say one thing you don't like, you just you get flustered about it. I'm like, yeah, I know. So, but yeah, so that's that. And so that's kind of just my thing, is just be yourself. And I really encourage everyone in this journey to just kind of take a day or two, and just think about and pray about, what do you want a life to look like? Is it just about fitting into clothes, or is it about feeling good about who you are, looking in the mirror and being like, I like that person? I'm Because I'll tell you, I look in the mirror. I went shopping yesterday and I bought a size 36 jean, slim jean, and a large shirt. I was a 62 waist and a 6L shirt. Trips me out. Like, when I look in the mirror, I don't really, I recognize myself, but I don't. Like, there's still a part of me that's like, whoa, pictures really freak me out. Sometimes I'll stare for like a half an hour at a picture of me, like, what is that me? Like, it's weird to me. And so I don't want to have to figure out who I am and then figure out who I am being someone else. Like, I want to see me in the mirror and I want to figure out who that person is. So that's just my encouragement, is just take some time and figure out what you want to do, what you want to be, what's the purpose for it. Is it just to be healthy? Is it just to be, good looking like me? Or is it something that you really are like, hey, I want to do this with my life. I want to achieve these goals. I want to do this. Not because Staley's doing it or Wendy's doing it or whatever, but because I want to do it. I want to be the guy. I want to be the trendsetter, I want to be the first weight loss surgery person that qualifies for Kona. There we go. Step it up, Jillian. But, it's like, that's what I want to be. I want to be me. I want to be I want to do what I want to do. This season, I'm not so worried about my times in triathlon. I'm worried about finishing triathlon, I'll beat myself up later once I'm really comfortable with what I'm doing in triathlon. But I don't want to beat someone's time or do I just want to do what I want to do. That's why here I've got my coaches, I got all this kind of stuff, because I want to do what the best is for me, not what's the best for someone else. And I don't want to follow someone else's path. I want to follow my path and do my thing. If my path coincides with someone else's, well, that's just coincidence. So, all right, guys, 25-minute video, anyone? Sorry. All right, love you guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.